Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Big Brothers podcast. And I'm your co-host, Jacob. And guys, someone call the FBI because the Pentagon just blew up. The Pentagon just blew up. Finn, introduce yourself.
Well, I have to say, when you said you were doing this podcast, I went up to you and said, please, I want to be a part of this so bad.
I guess we need numbers. I guess.
For real. The FBI must be really busy tonight with the amount of people talking about blowing up the Pentagon because it just happened. FBI, if you're listening, I'm not talking about the Pentagon. Just chill for a second. I'm not nuts anyways.
And Miri, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, listen, y'all. It better be the wall comp, okay? I'm ready.
Oh, baby. I'm so excited. It is the wall comp. It is. All right.
I did not know we were getting the wall comp tonight. I was so excited, and I am so ready to stay up as long as it takes. I'm just glad it's not the pressure cooker.
All right. Before we get into the week, I got a nice beverage here to pour out for young Fed.
Truly. Toast to him.
Toast
RIP my draft.
I just
my number one pick.
The first draft member. I thought I was losing a draft member tonight. I was like, all right, like whatever. Bina's out. She's not even really like. We gotta just. Cedric going home was crazy. That is honestly like I have to say, like I messaged you guys right after it happened, like. You don't want to see him go. He looked so devastated. He was so sad. But also, my number one heart and soul with Big Brother is Team Chaos. And Team Chaos won tonight.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
I'm also on Team Don't Volunteer to Go on the Block. So we also won tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we got a lot to get into for this week. This season is just giving week after week after week. It's just giving. You know, we've stayed committed to this show long enough that we deserve this. And this is just crazy. A slew every single week has just been bananas. But let's get started with episode 1 of this week. Before we get in, do you guys have any last points before we get into the week as a whole leading up to this crazy eviction?
I just want to say it has been a long time since I have been this excited about what's going on inside the Big Brother house. Honestly, the last time I felt this excited was probably Big Brother 20. That was a long time ago, so to be feeling that level of excitement again is phenomenal. I'm just hoping that, unlike Big Brother 20, this season keeps that energy going the whole way.
Yeah. If this season can keep knocking it out of the park, like I've always said, like the pre-jury, it's kind of different than like Survivor. The pre-jury is always like, and then post-jury is like where it's more at. But Big Brother, I find, is always like pre-jury is usually better than jury. This pre-jury, though, has been extremely excellent. And if they can keep this up into the jury, I don't know about you guys. I'm feeling like an all-time season right now, knock on wood. But yeah, if they can keep this energy up and this craziness up and these terrible players playing awfully, this will be amazing. Miri, how are you feeling about the level of gameplay in this house?
I mean, listen, before this episode, I think we could say strategy was not at the forefront of the season, but I think T-Core and Chemo might have just proved that people have some chops when it comes to strategizing and actually putting together a good vote and a good plan. So like y'all said, I'm hype about this season. I think it's going to be an all-timer, and it's showing no signs of slowing down. And, let's just hope it keeps up, man. I'm really hoping it just stays this way because I'm just loving it, every second of it.
Man, call me McDonald's because I am loving it right now. All right, we go into a good old episode 1. So last week we got Kenny the Quitter out. And this week we start out with an AI knockout competition. Now, we know that Quinn is taking over this thing. Although for some reason in the episodes, multiple times, and in the diary room too, saying that he might not use it. Finn, do you think it's ever the move not to use your power?
Yes and no. I think it's highly situational, and I think in the case where someone like Angela wins HOH, yeah, use that power 100%. But if it was someone like, I don't know, like Chemo, T-Core, anyone that Quinn is like close to, I think there's an argument to just not step on any toes, don't take over the nominations. They're not going to put you up anyways. Like in that situation, you might as well just hold on to it because you don't really need it, even though production probably spent a lot of money creating these deep fakes.
Yeah, to be honest, being an ally of Quinn this week was probably not good. But you know, so we get to the AI knockout competition. I thought this competition was really, really fun. We've seen it quite a few times before. I mean, this is a classic, I would say. Miri, this is a classic, right?
Definitely a classic. We need it every season, man. Thank God they brought it here. Perfect timing too.
Yeah, because Angela gets chosen to go up 5 times, and she beats every single one of them and wins the HOH.
I think Tucker using the veto on her just unleashed some new chaotic energy inside of her, and she's just like, that's it, we're playing Big Brother now, I need to stay, and she just beasted through it.
Is Tucker using the veto not on himself actually a good move?
It might have been.
You know, I got some thoughts about this, y'all, because we saw Tucker discuss not using the veto and not jumping ahead, obviously, to this week, but we've heard his thoughts now about, you know, how he kind of utilizes either not using the veto on himself or using on himself this sporadicness. It's kind of a strategy, right? He made it sound intentional. And I think for a comp beast to actually have some brains and think, well, how's the way that I can keep winning comps and not have people thinking they got to get rid of me the second that I'm vulnerable? Maybe if you think that if someone wins a veto, they're not going to use it perchance, you might want to keep him around still, right? He's playing smart, I think.
Yeah, that is, I mean, yeah, Tucker is one of the most interesting players I think I've ever seen on Big Brother. And like, he doesn't like when you first see him, you're like, oh, it's just like, you know, like he's just a pretty, I guess, an interesting, like I see why they chose him, you know, good looking guy, funny, kind of looks, I guess, like Jim Carrey. But man, like the way he actually goes about operating is just so unique. And I can't tell. I don't think it's good. It's not good, but like it's so unique that it like makes other players misplay. And I think we saw that this week, which we will get into shortly because I'm pretty sure I think I'll get into it after. But basically, long story short, Angela chooses or wins the HOH, and Quinn decides I'm going to take over her HOH, but not before Angela gets information out of Quinn. Finn, did you think that was crazy when Angela asks what your number 1 no is, and then follows it up with what's your number 2 and 3 no?
You know, I think from Angela's perspective, it's understandable. She's HOH. She's trying to use her position in the house to gain some kind of intel. Maybe, I mean, she knows that the deepfake power is there and she knows Quinn has it. Maybe she's thinking, you know, if I work with Quinn, maybe he won't use the power and maybe I'll get to keep my HOH. But obviously, I don't think that was ever in the cards, but I guess it's worth a shot, right?
Yeah, no.
What does she have to lose, you know? She's not going anywhere.
I mean, if you're going to be immune, you might as well just see if you can get info. And Quinn answers, oh yeah, chemo's my no. And so Angela goes, okay, so what's your second and third? Now knowing who Quinn's number 1 is, it's like, lie, Quinn, lie. Say any other fucking name.
Just say Cedric, man. Leave it at that.
honestly, it's crazy. But anyway, so Quinn takes over. And Quinn decides he needs to find a few people to nominate. Well, he doesn't. He needs to, because that's, the rules of the game. And so he decides on Mackenzie, on Tucker, and then gets the volunteer out of Cedric, the guy who just kept him safe the previous week. Miri, buddy, what was Cedric thinking?
Let me tell you, boys, man, this is when I knew I made a mistake. In drafting Cedric number 1, I saw someone that had a lot of potential in this game. And even as of last week, with all the mess, I still thought he played it pretty well. But here is where you mess up. He just spent all of last week alienating himself from Tucker, who's the loudest voice in the house, making a large enemy in the process, all to save Quinn. And then you allow that person you just saved, who now has the HOH, to put you on the block and in danger. No good player would ever do that. And listen, Cedric seems like a great guy, super nice, but he was not cut out for the strategy of this game, man. Not one bit.
It was so sad to watch him just because you're right. When he had that big blow up, I said last week, like calling a group session and letting Tucker implode was fantastic. Keeping Quinn safe, all right, like that's the path you chose. Good, stick with it. But it's almost like Cedric had to somehow play I don't even know, play he feels like he made a mistake last week or felt regretful from last week, so he offered himself up. I really don't understand what his logic was, but Quinn takes the bait and says, yeah, I guess I'll put you up. Finn, do you think that this was a good play by Quinn?
No, absolutely not. It's one thing for Cedric to volunteer to go up on the block.
Well,
it's another thing for Quinn to actually follow through with that. I mean, the logic behind putting up Rubina as the replacement nominee was that it might make Tucker not try as hard in the AI arena comp. I feel like that same logic could have very well been applied to the veto comp. People are sleeping on the veto comp here a little bit. And, if you put Tucker and Rubina next to each other, no one's going to be upset about that. It's getting pretty obvious that they're pretty close in the house. Yes, yeah. And there's, the possibility that Tucker might do something stupid and use the veto on Rubina like he did the week before. And then you're basically left with a repeat of last week. So I do think Quinn this week got way too comfortable. And I hate to say it because he was my first draft pick, but he is slipping. He is slipping, and he is on track to be mayor of jury.
Yeah, I think that you actually have a great point when you say that people are sleeping on the veto. It's like this AI arena has made people think that it's more important to win the AI arena than it is to win veto. No, AI arena is like
the last resort.
Mm-hmm.
You should not ever want to play in the AI arena ever. But if you do, you want to be named Tucker. Or I guess maybe Mackenzie. You do not want to be in that AI arena. And the veto, it's been won by a nominee every week, correct? Every single one of these weeks. Yeah. If one of the other two are able to win it as well, that's two people safe. I think people are, and I said this earlier, people are misplaying so hard right now because Tucker is playing this crazy off the wall, doesn't make sense game that Quinn actually nominates Tucker, not thinking that Tucker can win the veto. What are you doing? You can still backdoor the guy. Yeah, he has a chance to win the AI arena, but like we just said, you don't want to be playing in the AI arena if you don't have to. So why not force him to play in the AI arena? It makes no sense to me.
Hey, but their misplaying is our benefit because, listen, out of the noms we got and with the veto standoff we end up getting that we'll get into later, it was just all-time entertainment and just great content all around for BB.
Yeah, no, absolutely amazing content. I guess to finish off episode 1, obviously we see Cedric, Mackenzie, and Tucker on the block. But we get a little bit of a Tubina little segment. And this actually is really important for the whole week. Now, Miri, has Tubina been around for like longer than just this week, or has it just been this week?
Well, they were at least starting out when we were recording last week's episode, because I remember us mentioning that, and I think that was kind of right when they really started to heat up, right? And I mean, like we saw through this week, we didn't get as much content about it, or at least them being super romantic, outside of the segment we got. I'm talking more from feeds, of course, because there was a lot of strategizing this week. But you know, I think they're still going strong, and I think this week is probably gonna make them gravitate even more towards each other, you know? So expect that to be a full-fledged showmance by jury, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get into. I think this episode that happened tonight has so much info, because there's so many things I want to say. Like Leah has skyrocketed personally. Like for a while, I was like, oh my god, she's so bad, and she's still not that good. But like, man, her positioning has just gotten so much better. I'm so happy she's on my pick. Anyway, we're gonna go to episode 2. And in episode 2, Finn, we see Joseph creating the collective. Is this our first time really seeing the collective? But you've been watching the feeds a little bit. This alliance has been around for a while, correct?
Yes, this alliance has been around since, I believe, week 1. I think the original plan was to include Angela in on this alliance when she was HOH. But we obviously know how that went. No thanks at all to the recap episode that we had on Tuesday, where we got to relive these glorious moments.
Right.
Did y'all watch that? I watched that.
No. I watched it, but if you didn't watch it, you really didn't miss much. It was just Taylor, Jag, and Cody talking about some of the more noteworthy moments, and then they told us that the AI instigator twist was a thing, but they didn't tell us what it did. So you didn't really miss a whole lot, but I enjoyed it because we got to see Angela's meltdown again. So
hey, Jacob, the one thing you did miss that I think you'll find interesting is that both Cody and Jag picked Angela as their winner picks.
What? No way. Yo, actually, though, Angela is in a good spot right now, man.
Somewhat.
Like, she's not bad.
She's picking it up, man. Yeah. She's picking it up.
I mean, she's still a house target, but I think it's like shrinking.
Yeah, no, I think I said this. So the first, like, she came in so frazzled, and it was lucky she won the first HOH, because I think she just would have had, like, if she was a target, I think she would have just gone home, like, first. She would have been the first one voted out. But because she won that first HOH, she got a lot of those, like, jitters out, you know? And so now she's, like, sat on the block, you know? She's, like, feeling a little cool, and we're gonna get into it later, but she's, like, literally going up to people and saying, hey, can I be in your alliance? Which I love, man. She just gives and gives and gives and gives. But we're gonna continue on with that episode 2. Thank God I missed that. I guess this is episode 3. I mean, I missed that episode 2 completely, but I didn't miss much.
2.5.
Do we see crazy eyes?
Yep, we sure did.
We saw a lot of crazy eyes.
Yeah, I love that. Perfect. Well, we see that Joseph also makes a little bit of a connection with Tucker in that episode. So him and Tucker are kind of broing down a little bit. Miri, are you feeling pretty good about Tucker and Joseph like kind of connecting? Or do you think this is like a misplay on like Joseph's part? Or do you think this is a solid? I guess it's kind of speaks for itself. But yeah. What do you think?
I think this was actually like the best thing Joseph's done so far. I mean, obviously he created the majority alliance, but I don't think that's got legs, man, especially after this week. And I think that getting in with probably the most influential and most powerful player in the house currently, and having that person approach you and putting more trust into you it's super significant for Joseph's game. And I think he had a real coming out party in episode 2 to just look a lot more like a strong player in the house. So I like his chances going forward if he keeps this momentum going and actually put some stake into his alliance with Tucker.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think this was a really smart play, especially because he got let in on the, well, we'll see peak later, but he got let in on the vote. And I think like that's huge because now he has like multiple things. Like he can say, we didn't have the votes anyways. Like it was always going to flip. I had to just do it. And on the other side, he can say, he's definitely in a higher he's not in the line of fire like Chelsea, Brooklyn, and Cam are now. But yeah,
I think we can definitely expect to see Joseph play the middle from this point. I mean, he can easily do it. And I don't think he's really on anyone's radar. I don't think anyone really picks him up as a threat. I think he's a lock for jury at this point. Absolutely. He could go the distance potentially.
My picks were so good.
Yep. I wanted Joseph too. But for some reason I picked Quinn, and now look where I am.
Well, we get into our veto competition, and the veto competition was really cool. I thought it was basically like a memorization pattern, Squid Games type thing. Finn, are they just choosing Squid Game competitions and just are we gonna see cookie cutting soon? What do you think?
You know, if they are taking inspiration from Squid Game, I'm not complaining. I think there's definitely some interesting inspiration you can take from that. What this particular comp reminded me of, though, was a little Nickelodeon game show. I believe it was called Brain Surge. And if you got to the final round of Brain Surge, they basically had this same exact concept, but it was in like a 4x4 square. And they'd show you the pattern and you'd have to memorize it. This is basically that, but with only two options. And I think it was a really cool. I don't think we've seen a competition like this at all. This is a brand new competition. And there were a lot of really unique ways that people thought outside of the box to benefit themselves in this comp.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I thought this competition was really cool. I think like generally pretty equitable. I mean, like, yeah, you could go really fast. And I think that technically, like, the faster you go, the better you'll do anyways. But I mean, like, you can get lucky and just like nail like the last 3 in a row. And like, you know, you could be 10 tries behind and still win it.
Yeah.
So I think like generally pretty equitable. Same with the HOH comp, obviously. So like,
I think anyone could go fast enough to win this competition. Like, I don't think it favors anybody.
Yeah, look at Angela versus MJ. I mean, it was 7.5 minutes before MJ finished it, and it was pretty neck and neck at the end. So, I mean, I think it was anyone's game there, and I think y'all are totally right. They're keeping the trend going of having these comps be equitable, and they're killing it. I think this is the new golden standard for BB when it comes to production design, and they better keep it going, man, because I think they're seeing a lot of positive feedback from us, the fans, you know?
I really hope they like, I really hope like if anyone's like can say anything about this season, like just like showing that these equitable comps really makes it so unpredictable and it just makes it so much better. I mean, like, yeah, Tucker's a comp beast, but like all they need is like that guessing game to be like up there. And then a second guessing game, and like Tucker's not winning anything or whatever, right? So I think if we can take away anything from this season so far, equitable comps equate to entertainment. And I think that's super important. And I really hope they, like you said, Miri, like really keep this on. I guess the one thing I would say about the competition, I kind of wish at the very start of the comp, they did like a quick one over, like it kind of lit up every green one as it went, so that if you were really good at memorization, you could remember like the first like 8 or something like that, and then you would only have to do half. I think that could be kind of cool too, instead of just trial and error the whole time. But like whatever, I mean, that's a super minor complaint. But yeah, then we get Tucker saying, maybe I won't use the veto anymore. Miri, this stand-up, did this make you go a little crazy?
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, are we talking about Tucker post-winning veto or pre-winning veto? Because I think both times his ass was talking about not using the veto, man, and it was stressful both times.
Fucked. Oh my god. Post-veto, I want to say, because that's when we heard Angela basically like begging him to use that veto. But
hey, well, right before we get into that, I do want to shout out the standoff we have it was like poetic. I felt like it was a movie. Cedric versus Tucker as the final two in the veto comp. It just was epic. I don't know how y'all felt, but I was like, man, this is what you want. Like rival versus rival. Whoever wins this is safe, and whoever doesn't win this is probably number one target to go home if everything goes a certain way. So like it just, and seeing Tucker come out on top was hype as hell, man. So God, that was epic as hell. But going into what you were saying, man, yeah. The minute he says I'm thinking of not using the veto, my heart drops, man. I was like, it's gonna happen. He's gonna get Marcellus. It's done. But thank God he actually had some brains behind it. He was always gonna use the veto, at least according to him. And it made me feel like in the end, Tucker is playing a better game than anybody's really giving him credit for when it comes to non-comp stuff, you know?
And, to kind of go off of that, I do think it really made a lot of sense what he was doing by going back and forth with people on whether or not he was going to use the veto, even though he always was going to. It made them so focused on him that no one was considering any other possibility besides we need to take out Tucker or we need to take a shot at Tucker. And that, I think, is what indirectly led to Cedric going home this week, is the fact that people were just so focused on Tucker.
Tucker is an absolute magnet for chaos. And I think that, like, I think for Angela, like, actually, like, probably, like, my props go to Angela the most personally, just because she was, like, yeah, maybe Tucker was always going to use the veto, but, like, maybe he wasn't. And, like, I think Angela going, like, please use the veto. Please, God, use the veto. And I guarantee you on feeds, she was saying it more than what we saw in the episode, which was already a lot. I think like having that chaos magnet around for Angela is extremely, extremely good. And then not only that, but now there's a showmance that's in, like, why would you ever take a shot at Angela when there's, like, kind of what Leah said? Why would you ever take a shot at Leah at all if there's a huge showmance in the house, a huge target, sides that are going like at each other's throats? Like, this is like so much chaos going on that it's like hiding some of the like mistakes people made in the early game. And like, it's really interesting. This season is like so fascinating how it's like working out. It's really unique. It reminds me of like Big Brother Canada 6. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. That was my first Big Brother season, I think, ever. I think it was Big Brother Canada 6. And so I remember that like Paris, Will, and Maddie were like a 3. Then there was like Alessia. I forget exactly all the names.
Oh yeah,
Allie
and
Allie. Yeah, and it was like groups
the
of like
ding dongs.
2, 3, 2. It was like these random like pockets of people. And like this season, like with Cedric going home, really reminds me of like these pockets of people. You got Cam, Chelsea, Brooklyn in a pocket. You got T-Core Chemo with like Rabina Tucker as like a pocket. You got Joseph and Quinn like kind of in like everyone's pocket, but in their own. MJ and Leah in a pocket. And that's why I think like, man.
And then there's Angela.
But that's what I'm saying. Like my stock on Angela, it's like at this point, why would you ever take a shot at Angela when there's like 4 other pockets that you need to take a shot at first? Like it's crazy how this worked out. And this vote could have made it so that instead it's like one huge pocket with like a little bit of like minions running around with their heads cut off. But with this vote, it really just like blows up to like all these little bubbles of people. And I think that is going to lead to like chaos, to be honest. Anyway.
Agreed, man.
Sorry, if you can't tell, I'm very excited.
It was a hype night. We haven't even gotten to get into what we just watched, man.
Well, we start episode 3. And we start with Chemo being nervous about the collective. Finn, what were your initial thoughts when you heard Chemo and T-Core talking about, are we on the bottom? Are we not?
Mm-hmm. When I heard this coming up on the episode, I was immediately excited for what was going to happen tonight, because there was a lot of talk on Twitter about Chemo and T-Core basically being the ones that are going to decide how this vote goes in the event that Cedric remains on the block. And I think there were a lot of people who were kind of unsure whether or not they were actually going to go through with it, because you could argue they are in a really good position right now. They kind of have an Onion Alliance type thing going on. But Chemo brings up a good point. He knows for a fact that he is basically on the bottom of the collective because Quinn told him about the Pentagon.
He's on the outside of that onion, right?
He is on the outside of that onion, even though Quinn, Chemo, and T-Core are allegedly supposed to be the ones controlling everything. From Chemo's perspective, I think it's really easy to look at that and go, hold on a minute here. Quinn's in a 5-person alliance within our 8-person alliance. I'm not sure how I feel about that. And I think that was really a really smart thing for him to observe, for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that I was a little bit confused on why T-Core thought that Quinn didn't have their best interests at heart, just because Quinn was so open about the Pentagon, and no one else from my perspective had told Chemo or T-Core about the Pentagon. Why would they not think that Quinn was in their pocket? Miri, do you have any thoughts on this?
My thought is that Quinn is just leaking way too much information ever since day one. He's saying too much to too many people. It's getting back. It's becoming a game of telephone. And I think when you become the sneakiest player in the house, or the most gossipy player in the house, it becomes hard to really, take everything you're saying at face value, or think that you're saying anything for a reason that wouldn't be self-serving, So you always got to take that with a grain of salt. So I kind of understand why she was sus of him, but obviously if she was reading his intentions properly, she would have known he's doing it for their best interest.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of easy for us to be well, obviously he wants you, because we've been seeing through on multiple episodes, Quinn being oh yeah, the visionaries, which are Chemo, T-Core, and Quinn, is his primary focus. But it's really easy from their perspective that it's well, maybe we're part of your focus, but we're not your full attention. And I think that really is what sets in motion the fact that I don't think we can evict Rabina. I think we need to. Oh, by the way, I don't know if we said this, but Tucker comes off the block and Rabina replaces him. But they're we don't know if we can take out Rabina or maybe even MJ. I don't really know what would have happened if MJ doesn't win the AI arena, but if Cedric's on the block versus MJ, I feel like MJ goes. I don't really know. And do you know?
I'm kind of iffy on that one. I think MJ is just kind of off of everyone's radar in a similar way to Angela, but not she's not really a target, but people wanted her out in this instance. I feel like she probably would have just been an easy person to vote out if she stayed on the block. So, and it almost happened tonight. It was that close to happening. She was probably going home.
Photo finish.
I think there was a good chance.
That was crazy. Oh, we'll get to that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We'll get to that shortly, but we got to go over my favorite moment in the entire series of Big Brother, I think. And I think I've said this multiple times this season, but Angela is lying on the floor in prone position, like she's Solid Snake, and she's head to the door listening. There's an alliance starting out there. Now I want to be a part of it. And she runs out to the alliance of Tucker, Chemo, Rabina, T-Core. She goes straight up to them and says, I want to be part of this, please. I want to be part of you.
I can be on the bottom.
You know you messed up your game when you have to beg people to let you into your alliance.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel low key, good move. Am I wrong? If Angela's so on the outs, you know what? At least she's not sitting around doing nothing. She hears an alliance of people that, by the way, makes sense for her to join, goes up to them and says, "Can I join this?" And they all look at each other. And Tucker goes, "Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like sure, we'll call it the tank."
And I mean, it makes sense for them to include Angela on this. Like, when you are forming a new alliance in the house, if there is someone on the outside, take them in. Because if they're on the outside, that means there's another alliance that's been running the show and you're not a part of it. So absolutely, everyone should be jumping at the opportunity to take Angela in. And to make it even better, she's an excellent shield for all of them. Because as far as I know, people still kind of want her out of the house because she is a little bit unpredictable.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Miri, did you want to say something about this as well?
Hey, I'll just say Angela's the gift that keeps on giving, man. And this is why I'm going to keep supporting her because, like you said, Jacob, she's never going to give up. She's not going to sit around. And this is probably why she wasn't second boot. It's because she is actually someone that's going to fight to stay in the house. She's such a fan. Her commitment to the show is so clear. And I think half the time that she's going batshit, it's just because she cares so much about how she does, you know? And I love that she's really going hard to really stay in and try and make something happen. And thank God Tucker pulled her into that alliance. At first, when they were all looking at each other, I was like, what are you doing? Just tell her yes, at least, even if you're lying.
Yeah, but, absolutely. I was so confused why they didn't say yes, but it makes total sense. Tucker literally just fucking took her off the block. She's literally like, I'll be on the bottom. She'll tank her own game to be with you guys. And then also Tucker brings up a good point. She is 1-2-8. She's won the second most amount of comps this whole season. And like, she's not that bad. Like, she's like I think she's gotten that craziness a little bit out. And like, I've seen on online Discord, like that being like, oh, Angela like stumbled into this position. She like accidentally stayed. I'm like, no, she actively made sure that she was more like than Lisa. Not a high bar, but still she did. Right?
It saved her there.
Yeah. And then like third week, she gets a veto used on her. Now, like, it's Tucker, but like still, he could have used it on Kenny, but he didn't. He used it on Angela. Fourth week, she wins HOH. Fifth week, I don't even know, like, depending on who wins, she doesn't even whiff the block at all. And she might win. Like, she could win. Like, she could win again. And I would not be shocked if she won again. And I hope she does, because that sounds like a great week.
Well, if she's a BB super fan, and I don't know if they're aware that tonight is the wall comp. I'm watching the feeds on my other monitor, and it hasn't started yet. They're all still in the house. If they kind of brief them, or if there's some way that they find out that this is the wall comp, she should know to wear a hoodie, because that you can like put the hoodie over your hands and grab the pole, so that when they like squirt goo on you or whatever, you don't lose your grip. So if she knows about that hack, which I hope she does because she is a super fan, she could win this competition tonight, which would be insane.
Finn, do you watch Peridium videos?
I do. I do. I was just watching one earlier today.
Oh, I love you, Finn. Well, we get a crazy conversation in a huge segment of the episode, and it's about blowing up the Pentagon. Kaboom, baby. T-Core and Chemo. And I have to say, Chemo, like, this was his coming out episode. Like, this was a big episode for Chemo, because I've heard a lot online that, like, they're super indecisive. Chemo did not look indecisive to me in this DR. Miri, did he look indecisive to you at all?
He was a man on a mission tonight, and I'm so happy about it. I've seen, I think, all the posts y'all have probably seen online. T-Core and Chemo getting the boring allegations, maybe not allegations before tonight, but, they came together tonight, especially Chemo, right out of the gate, battered to hell. He was ready to make a move happen. And I think, with the move happening in the end, spoiler alert, it really makes me feel confident that Chemo is a contender in this game. T-Core too, of course, but I'm gonna give Chemo his flowers for really leading the push here. I think he just pulled off probably the biggest strategic play of the season so far in making the blind side happen.
Yeah, I would definitely say that's the move of the season so far. And what's crazy is I don't even think he's going to take crazy amounts of heat for it because he got so many random people that were already on the bottom to basically come together. And guess who's on the bottom now? Cam, Chelsea, Brooklyn. And guess who?
Quinn.
Yeah, and Quinn. And guess who needs T-Core Chemo? They'll have to forgive them. Like, I think, unless they don't.
I don't know if y'all
choice. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if y'all caught this. Right in the last 10 seconds of the episode, as they were rolling the credits, we see Chemo and T-Core having a little whisper combo.
I did.
And Chemo goes, I think referencing Brooklyn, he goes she said we're in trouble now, but the truth is she's in trouble now. They need us. And it's it's true. They clocked it. They're rolling now. They're cooking the gas.
There's only
HOH. I have no idea what's gonna happen. We can finish up this episode and then we can see what they say. But I actually have no idea what's gonna happen next week. And this is not a common thing with Big Brother. Usually you can kind of be like, all right, if this person wins HOH, they'll do this. This person wins HOH, they'll do this. I actually have no idea what pretty much anyone will do if anyone wins HOH. I really don't know. I have general ideas of who's going after who, but there's a selection of 5 people for each person to go after. And so that's just beautiful. Beautiful. Yep. But we got the AI arena between Rubina, Mackenzie, and Cedric. And Miri, Cedric really didn't do hot in this AI arena, did he?
Man, he was throwing those balls like he was trying to bowl. It was way too much force, way too much gusto. I don't know if y'all have seen Survivor, but 41, I'm thinking of my boy, what was his name, JD, with the money, the way he's throwing it so hard. I mean, it was a mess, man.
Poor JD.
Oh, I loved him JD.
Too. Yeah. But I was just Cedric, man, you just got to have a little more finesse, dude. And for a dude that had a lot of finesse in the house, he was pretty swaggy. He was pretty cool. He could not keep his cool when it came to rolling these balls up that hill.
No, he could not. He started to catch up at the end, I think, but it was just too late. And Finn, we see an absolute photo finish.
I was beside myself. I'm watching this play out. I'm on the edge of my seat already. And the camera is on Rubina, and I'm thinking, oh my god, Rubina is about to pull herself off the block. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they cut and Mackenzie's done, and I'm like, what? And I stood up and I'm like, oh my god, Mackenzie pulled it out that close.
They pull
didn't
out,
even see it.
They pull out to that wide shot for maybe a second, and all you see, I look at Rubina and I see her running. But then I see Mackenzie pounding the button. And I'm like, because she, in the way they cut it, they were zooming from the top. And Mackenzie is hitting, right? But Rubina has only 1 ball left. And Mackenzie is 3 or 4? And then it cuts to Rubina hitting it. But I guess Mackenzie had hit 3 balls by the time Rubina had hit 1 ball.
Oh my god, the look that Rubina had on her face when she saw, because obviously, yeah, like y'all said, we can't see how MJ's doing, but when I saw Rubina look to her side and just go, I was like, oh shit, this is tight, isn't it? And they pan out and it was over, man. I was like, wow, she stopped to look as she was about to lose by a split second. It was rough, man. It was rough. But yeah. MJ clutched it. That was hype as hell. Insanely hype.
I was really proud of MJ. MJ has not played a great game so far. She's been so in the dark. I think this is the first time she's really she wasn't just in the dark. I think this was the first time I don't think it was the first time she was in the right side of the votes, but like I think it was the first time like she wasn't just getting like BS'd by Chelsea and Brooklyn, who, by the way, dropped the ball this week. They dropped the absolute ball this week. They were in the best position in the house, bar none, and they threw it all away. And like they could have definitely made sure Cedric wasn't even touching that block. But Mackenzie wins that AI competition, and Team Fun Feeds wins again because we get the best options that could have been on the block for entertainment value, Cedric and Rabina. And I don't know if you guys saw this. So they start coming down the stairs, and you see Mackenzie look over, and she's just like smiling, and I'm just like,
poker face.
like anytime someone wins this AI competition, they're the first one on the stairs because they're super excited. So like every time I see it, I'm like, just look at the first person in the front. They won first. Like let's just tell the house, But that was crazy competition. And then we see the craziest 1 minute of the season. And it really wasn't a minute, was it, Finn? It was 4 minutes, 5 minutes, right?
Oh, absolutely. Production very clearly was hoping this twist would result in last-minute scrambling on the live show, and hilariously, that did not happen for the first 3 weeks of the season. And this time, we actually got last-minute scrambling, and production's just like, all right, let's just watch this for a little while. I honestly didn't think this was going to happen. I really thought that, there's enough time between Monday, like, I don't know, early afternoon and Thursday night to like work out all the different scenarios of what the two final nominees could be. And I feel like people, for the most part, had a pretty good understanding of what was going to happen with each possible outcome of the competition. That did not seem like it was the case tonight. People were not making their minds up, and it looks like people were being clued in at the very last second because people were holding back tears. You could see it on their faces.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like they almost like were like, yeah, this could happen. Like Rabina might stay on the block with Cedric. Could happen, right? They definitely gamed and like kind of thought about it. But I think like when reality actually hit Miri, it was basically like everyone realized like, oh shit, like we got to decide which person is going home. And it seemed like the tough part was like the cast is like beefy and chaotic and like they fight against each other, but like it seems like they're all like decent friends. Like it doesn't seem like even the people that didn't like each other, I guess Lisa, like no one really liked Lisa, but like even though like I don't think anyone's like really being mean or no one's like really happy that someone went home. Like even like when Tucker and Cedric, like it was between them two, like there was still like respect there. You know what I mean? And like Miri, how did you feel like when you kind of like what was your opinion on like this 1 minute scramble?
Well, I think this is a signifier of, a great cast when, they're willing to still backstab and betray someone, but they feel bad about it. We're seeing them wear the emotions on their face. Almost reminded me of BB15 Judd's eviction. That one obviously 10 times more brutal. But I mean, it was, people are crying and they know they're about to do something super, I guess, a little naughty. Yeah, they're about to make a big betrayal and, go back on some promises. But, they're doing it. They're playing the game. They just feel bad about it. And I love those ones, man. And the fact that it was still a blindside for some people, even with there being people sobbing, like, you think they're crying for Rubina? Come on now. Like, I loved it, man. Everything about it. It was perfect.
Yeah, that was crazy. So we see them going into that diary room. We see that the first three were Tucker, who happily mixed Cedric, Mackenzie, who stumbles a little bit but says Cedric, Leah, who's crying and says Cedric. Then we get a break in between. Ugh, so annoying. But we come back, Chemo, bawling his eyes out, says Cedric. And at that point, Finn, are you thinking this is, yeah, this happened. The flip happened.
At that point, I'm thinking, why is this the order they did the votes? I mean,
Right.
just set up this whole episode coming down to what Chemo and T-Core decide, and you're having them vote in the middle? Like, I'm not sure what was really going on with that. But regardless,
I have a theory about that, but I'll specify later.
Oh, yeah, we'll get into that. Regardless, once I saw, obviously Tucker was going to vote for Cedric. Once I saw MJ vote Cedric, I'm like, okay, yeah, they got numbers. I don't know if it'll actually happen, though. And Leah was one of the key parts to this flip, and I was really not sure where she was going to go because, as we've discussed, she's been super under the radar, rightfully so. No one's really looking at her as a target. And she found her opportunity to strike. She took out one of the huge power players in this game, took a shot against Quinn, who is basically running the house up to this point. Also someone that she has a really close relationship with, which we haven't really gotten to see on the show, but there's a lot going on between them on the feeds. I'll just leave it at that. I totally lost my train of thought, but yeah, it was like, seeing all these votes for Cedric come up, I'm like, okay, wow, Cedric actually lost tonight. Like, yeah, Cedric's going home.
I think we didn't speak too much about Leah, but I think that Leah is actually in a really similar position, kind of to not quite nearly as good, but kind of similar to Joseph, because Joseph's obviously in a better position that he's actually in the Pentagon. But I mean, is the Pentagon even a thing anymore? Right? That's kind of blown up. And so I really see Leah with kind of a strong-ish ally in MJ. I see her kind of have a thing with Joseph, right? They were lying on the pillows together. I see her kind of somewhat have a strong relationship with T-Core and Chemo. But I also see all of those people I just named getting targeted before Leah now. I think Leah was in a dangerous position week 2, 3, 4. This week, I thought Leah was going to go. And she didn't even smell the block. And that was crazy, I think. And so I really see her going very deep into the game now. I don't see people sniping Leah out. I see people taking out Angela before I see people taking out Leah. And so I think that she might have benefited the most from tonight, to be honest. And I think she was crying because she liked Cedric as a person. But I think she knew that she needed to actually be in on something. And now she is. And so we see her take that shot at Cedric. And she said it, Rabina and Tucker are great shields to have in front of her. Now she's got T-Core and Chemo in front of her a little bit. I think Leah's in a fantastic spot right now. And I don't even know if she knows she's in a great spot. I really don't. Miri, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you make a lot of good points, man. I think Leah is slowly but surely becoming a stronger player in the house. I mean, I think she's always been intentional in how she wants to play the game. And I do think it's pretty interesting for her archetype to see her playing under the radar game. I mean, I think usually we're expecting either a showmance or a comp beast, or maybe even a strategic powerhouse, but not someone that's going to play a more subtle game. And I'm liking it so far. My only worry is if someone like a Chelsea comes into power who may have a reason to pawn Leah. And, if her bigger target doesn't go out, I could see a Leah getting sniped. But I think, like you said, those chances of that happening are pretty specific and pretty slim. So yeah. I like Leah's chances to get deeper into the game and be able to actually make an impact where she has already allies pre-established. She has suitors trying to get her on their side for maybe romantic intentions, but do
you think that is Cam and Leah gonna come up again because Cam now his boy Cedric's gone? Maybe Cedric was kind of yo, hold off on her. Now no one's holding them back. Dog's gotta eat. You know what I mean?
Here's my hope for how Leah's game goes when it comes to Cam and when it comes to Quinn. Whoever else tries to hit on her and get it happening. I'm just hoping she stays locked in. She plays the Parvati card, plays these men for their votes, for their allegiance, backstabs them when the time is right, and in the end really turns into a cutthroat player that was able to utilize the flirt card better than Allison Irwin even. You know what I mean?
It's a pretty high bar.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we really have seen, like, I think one thing this tonight has really showed, like, these players might be like looking nice or like saying, like, being nice to each other, but man, like, they are willing to backstab each other. And I think that this is just going to get worse and worse in the best way possible. But to
It's gonna be the
continue
worst
on, we have,
season to be in the house, but the best season to be watching it
for
from
sure.
outside.
We see Chelsea vote to keep Cedric and vote to evict Rubina. And then we see T-Core. And so here's my theory, Finn, that I was talking about earlier. I think that they knew Chemo was going to vote to evict Cedric, but they didn't know who T-Core was going to vote. But I think that because they had Joseph last, I think that they knew Joseph was going to flip. And so I think that instead of having T-Core and Chemo be at the end, I think they were going to have Joseph be at the end, so that if Chemo and T-Core went separate, which I don't think was ever really going to happen, but it could have, Joseph would be the one that really decided who was in, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that production chose those people in that order for that reason. But who knows, to be honest? I mean, none of us are part of production.
Right.
But yeah, we see the vote being 6-3. Finn, how did you feel about Brooklyn not being in on the plan? Because I don't know about you guys, during that 1 minute conversation, Brooklyn took Rabina aside and was talking to Rabina. What do you guys think like she was saying? Like, do you think she was saying, like, sorry, Rabina, you have to go, like, you're out? Because Rabina seemed shocked when she stayed.
Yeah.
She said something like, it's real, or you knew this could be real, something like that. And then Rubina was just shook. And yeah, I can't wait to get into it, but oh man, so sweet watching Brooklyn get blindsided there, because she thought she was running shit, man. She felt so good this week.
Her face was like
100%.
this.
Yeah, she's been giving some good reactions. I can't lie.
Reactions
That's the one thing I've been enjoying.
Yeah. Oh, you're not a Brooklyn fan, eh, Miri?
Man, y'all see how she acted to my girl Angela at the start of the week, acting like she was crazy to target her twice? You literally just picked her to go up, and you've been preying on her downfall. She knows it, you know it, and you're mad that she picked you twice.
Like, what do you expect Angela to do?
We didn't go into that, but like the whole like situation with Brooklyn being like, "Why'd you choose me twice?" And Angela's like, "Yo, get over it. It's Big Brother." Like,
literally.
Oh, I can't cry. I can't do it.
That was so good. But yeah, Brooklyn just needed to be knocked down a peg, man. I hate when the power players get a little cocky and feel like everything's got to go their way. And this was just, I think, a good humbling for the people that are really on the top in Brooklyn and Chelsea, even in Cam, even though he's kind of irrelevant. But, like, it was just
Cam's so mid, bro. That guy is
Yeah.
the worst.
Man,
Sorry, continue. My bad.
my draft ain't looking great, but,
Sorry, buddy.
Listen,
I like Chelsea.
Chelsea still got some legs for her. She's still a damn good player. Hopefully she bounces back from this. But, hey, I'll gladly sacrifice my draft to see my faves win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So we see the vote 6-3, and we see Cedric. I don't know about you guys. I thought Cedric was probably a little bit in shock too, and kind of like the way he went out. He's like, "Well, volunteer for the block. Like, you just get out, you know." And like, yeah, you could tell he was like good sport, because like Julie was right, good sport kid. But like Finn, like, I think he was a little in shock, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think he expected to go home. I think he expected that he had the numbers to stay. I mean, he was in the Pentagon, he was in the collective. I mean, if you take out Quinn, that's still what, six people who he was expecting to keep him. I don't think when he heard 6-3 that he was going to be the 6. I think he thought he was going to be the 3. So yeah, I can definitely understand why he was surprised by that.
Or went out,
but like he said, he volunteered for it. He put himself in that position, and you never, ever, ever, ever do that. You never do that ever.
Yeah, I hope that it's not going to be. It's not, guarantee it. But I hope so. I hope I'm wrong. That this is a lesson to all the players in there right now, and for any future players, do not, I repeat, do not volunteer for the block. Ever, ever, ever. You force the HOH to say, if you even if you know you're going up, you tell them, no, I don't think I should go up. I think I'm good for your game. Even if it's a lie, who cares? Say it and make them feel bad about it if you really have to. Who cares? You do not ever, ever, ever volunteer for the block. And if I see another goddamn person this season volunteer their ass for the block, I'm going to beg that they go home immediately. Immediately. Okay? Tucker, I don't even care if it causes entertainment. Do not volunteer for the block again. So.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those hard lessons learned. I hope that people in the house learn from it. We'll see if future house guests learn from it. They probably won't, but we'll see.
Definitely.
You know, it is funny how things kind of go full circle in BB a lot, because, you know, I think a big plot line of Cedric's rise in the Big Brother house was him fumbling, asking everyone to volunteer for the block, right? You know, we saw that whole segment. He clearly didn't learn. He learned the wrong lesson from that, I think. You know, he should have learned that no one wants to volunteer for the block, and you shouldn't want to volunteer for the block.
Yeah.
But, you know, he clearly learned the wrong lesson and thought, well, if I was in their shoes, I would volunteer. And, you know, he made the wrong choice, man.
I think that, again, it's another thing where erratic, random-ass gameplay from Kenny the Quitter, Angela, who is definitely not someone you want to model your game after, and Tucker, who's batshit crazy, and you saw that last week, are all the ones that volunteered for the block. I just think, like, in his head, he was thinking, like you said, Miri, like, oh, well, like, I would want them to volunteer, so I'll do it. I'm in a great spot. And we saw that just crumble. And I don't think it was like, I said this to you guys, like, I felt bad that it was Cedric. If it was Cam, I'd be so happy. But, like, I think, like, Cedric going home was the part that was, like, made me feel a little sad, because I do think the guy is, like, really nice.
Yeah.
But he just, like, didn't make any good decisions this week. And unfortunately, like, that bit you in the ass. Like, what's crazy, I said, like, he should have probably just honestly, like, did what Tucker said last week and just taken out Quinn, I guess. But I'd argue he made the right move last week. I just don't understand why he ended up on the block. Like, it just makes no sense at all. And, like, I mean, great TV, but just so dumb. So dumb.
I think the logic behind it from Quinn's perspective was that it was someone who could beat Tucker in the veto competition. But that's the thing. There's two other people who are playing, you know.
Tucker shouldn't have played in the veto composition.
There's the other thing. Yeah, there's the other thing. I mean,
he shouldn't have even been there.
He could have easily put up Rubina and MJ, and man, I don't know at that point who else
honestly
would he put up. Like,
even Cedric at that point, I would rather Cedric go up as like without Tucker. Like, just no, Cedric should have never been up there. It should have been who should have been up there was Leah. It should have been Rubina, Leah, MJ, and then if any of them come down, you go, all right, Tucker, go on the block, and then all right, MJ or Leah, Rubina or Tucker goes home. Whatever.
Mm-hmm. And great. If Tucker wins AI, take out Rubina.
Yeah, I have all my alliances still in place. Like, it just didn't, like, a lot of this week made no sense to me. It was a lot of bad gameplay. Even T-Core Chemo probably should have never even let Rubina touch that block. Like, yeah, we got, like, a great move out of it, but, like, it was, like, the long way around to that good move. And, like, it could have been way better. Everyone could have executed better except Angela. Yeah. Yeah, I think Angela played
well put.
Yeah, that's the problem. They couldn't put up Angela. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been an issue.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think honestly, like I don't know about you guys. I think Angela played the best this week. I think so.
And
really
she ran her HOH well, right? No blood on her hands coming out of it.
Mhm.
None. I think Quinn almost should have just let Angela play be the HOH.
She probably would have screwed up her game again. Let's be real.
probably would have been the right move.
She would have come down the stairs again and yelled at someone else.
Quinn.
Oh my god. Yeah. Maybe Joseph played the second best, but even then, like I don't think Joseph. Like I don't know where. Maybe I don't know. I really think like the gameplay level of this week was like a 3 from everyone combined. Great, super entertaining. Like, this is not me complaining at all, but like, it was tough. It was.
Hey, strategically, I'll give Chemo his 10s, T-Core 10s.
True.
But entertainment-wise and just like significance to the season and to the house in there wise, I'm giving Tucker his 10s too. I feel like we've never seen someone run the game without actually having strategic control over the house. But to say he's not running the game would be kind of crazy when he just got out his top op on his other top ops HOH. Like,
that's crazy.
That is
That's
nuts.
crazy, bro. What the fuck?
When people call him kind of an instant legend, I think like usually that's way too quickly to like put that out there. But this dude has done more in 4 weeks in the house than some players have done that make it to the final 3. It's pretty insane.
Dude, this guy, someone said it's like he reminds them of Jace Wiry from like season 5. Dude, it's like Jace if Jace were like a better player. Like, it's weird. Like, Tucker's a terrible player, but like the way he's playing is so unique that it's like messing people up. And it's like Jace, it really reminds me of Jace, like the way that guy played, but like better because he's actually got like an alliance that wants to save his back and like
it's like a more personable Jace for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Jace had that originally, but I mean,
the 4
we know how that
went.
Side note, BB Can, when they brought in BB Can, what was it? BB Can 4?
4.
Jace not being on that. They should have just had all 4 of them.
They really
all
should.
4. They really should have.
I mean, I'm glad Tim was there, but I wanted Jace too.
Great, but like they should just put Jace, and I don't know the 4th girl, the Italian Big Brother player. Like, let's just like let them all play. Like, why even have the
let them go in? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's newbies on that cast they could have cut. They could have cut. I don't know.
Dude, they could have cut. They could have just cut the brothers. I know they won. Just cut the brothers. Like, just don't have that twist. Just have it be like season Big Brother Canada season 4 international. You know, international takeover. Like that's like what the season should have been. It would have been way better. You know,
they could have cut half that cast for Jace, man.
I still can't believe they did 2 people playing as 1. That's insane.
Anyway,
truly insane.
That was Big Brother week 4. Do we want to go over? So, unfortunately, Miri, do we play like a little violin, World Times violin? Your first victim, Cedric.
And my most confident pick too. Yeah. It is.
I don't think it was tough. A bad pick, but like it's just unfortunate.
He definitely had promise. Had promise.
Listen, I think week 2 when I made that pick, he was looking like one of the better players in the house. I think if he had not shot himself in the foot so much with, how the whole Tucker and Quinn situation played out, mainly just on picking a side, drawing the line against Tucker, and then still allowing Quinn to put him up, just like that ultimate bag fumble. It was a big slip up, but good guy. And honestly, I think he was bound to have either a pretty clean run to the end or a pretty heartbreaking betrayal at some point. So I'm glad with how we got it here pretty much,
I think, like I'm probably not gonna, I think I'll probably remember Cedric just because like the guy like basically embodied like don't volunteer for the block. I think I'm gonna like remember him for like ever now. Being like, oh, I remember that one guy from season 26 volunteered for the block thinking he was safe, and he was safe until he wasn't anymore. And so I'll remember him for that. I think if he survived this week, he was probably set to like top 5, I think, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he was a pretty integral piece of all these moving parts in this game, and him not being in there, I mean, that changes a lot. I mean, that completely shatters Quinn's game, to say the least. I mean, shoot, the Pentagon's down to 4, and his other 2 alliance members from within the collective, plus Joseph, just flipped on it. Quinn, oh man, I might lose a draft pick.
I think Quinn's in a better position, to be fair. I think Quinn's a little bit better in a position than like Cam or Chelsea or Brooklyn. I think that Brooklyn's in like a much worse position than Quinn, just because Quinn didn't really have a vote. And like, yeah, he did lose an ally, but like, let's be honest, like Quinn was kind of like never really that cool with Cedric until Cedric like actually helped him out. And even then, like, if Quinn was actually that cool with Cedric, he would have never put him on the block. Like,
That's
he
true.
never thought about putting Chemo and T-Core up on the block. You know, like he never thought about like putting like a lot of people. I mean, he chose Cedric to go up on the block over Robina. Like, I don't think Cedric was ever really that close with Quinn. I think Cedric thought he was close with Quinn. I don't think Quinn ever was really like, he's like cool with Cedric. You know what I mean? So like, I think really the bigger hit is Brooklyn, Chelsea, Cam.
Sure.
I think that they are like what's going to happen next week. I guess, do you guys want to talk about what's going to happen next week? What do we think is going to happen
Do
next
we want to
week?
make predictions for who's going to win the
man.
wall?
Fuck,
Yeah,
sure.
the wall
Who
comp
wants the
still has
first
not
prediction?
started. They're still in the house.
Have you heard anything?
I've been like unmuting it here and there, but it's really hard to listen to 2 things at once. So I haven't really picked up on anything major yet.
Don't worry about it then. No worries. All right. Do we want to do a prediction on
Let's do
who's
it.
going to win the wall? All
Oh
right.
man.
Miri, who do you think's going to win the wall comp?
I'm racking my brain, yo. I'm trying to think who's won the wall comp, like historically, you know, what can I gather from that? You know, I'm thinking Jared last year, Taylor the year before, DX the year before that.
Oh, I think it was X. I think it was just X.
Did
Right?
X win the wall? No, he dropped he dropped to DX, right?
Oh, did
that's
he?
when he dropped to DX and then DX backdoored Christian, right?
Oh,
Yes.
you're right. You're right. Yep.
Yes. I'm hearing from all those people, even Taylor, taller people, I'm kind of feeling.
But then again, I think the go to the wall comp was probably James Hewling, right?
Yeah, he won it twice, didn't he?
I think so, right? He won it twice. But then again, Mickey won it, who was deezed as hell, like a unit. So, I mean, I think if I had to put my money on someone who's gonna be motivated to win this and has the capabilities to win this,
there's like 8 people that are motivated to win this.
Honestly, I think anyone can win the wall comp. I mean, Carson Kressley won the freaking wall comp, and that dude is like not someone I would really peg as someone who would win that. So, you know, I think it's going to come down to who wants it the most, and maybe we'll have a wall comp that lasts more than an hour this year. It would be a miracle.
I think my prediction is going to be, I think if Tucker gets coached on this, if, you know, like Finn said, because I know earlier, like a week ago, people were already talking about the wall and what to do. Like the super fans were discussing that. If Tucker is told to wear a hoodie, if he has like the right stuff in place to have all the advantages that he can be given in the comp, I think he can get the W. If he comes out there barehanded in a tank top or something, he's going to be freezing. He's going to drop at some point. I'm going to go with, you know, Rubina just keeps calling my name for some reason. She keeps popping up in my head. So I'm going with one of 2 Binas winning the wall comp. I feel it.
Oh, so you're choosing 2 people to win the wall comp? Fine, we can just get 2 people, okay? We can get 2. You can have Tucker and Robina. That's fine. All right, Finn, what 2 people do you want to win?
You know, there's so many people who I feel like they need it. I am gonna say.
I know who I'm choosing.
I'm gonna say Angela. And I'm gonna say Quinn. Why not? Because I think he I think he feels like he needs it too.
Okay, I'm gonna go Cam Chelsea. I think one of those 2. Maybe Brooklyn Chelsea. Actually, I'll go Brooklyn Chelsea because I think Cam is such a lump on a log that he's gonna be like, I don't even know. And then Brooklyn and Chelsea are gonna be like, all right, we know we need this, you know. So I'm gonna go with Brooklyn and Chelsea. Although I do think that Cam is like, if for some reason Cam like gets his head in the game. But bro, am I wrong? Like Cedric went home. That was like his best friend, and he was like, didn't even care. Like he was like walking around like, oh, like he looked like he didn't give a shit that Cedric, like his game just blew up, and then he didn't even look like he cared, bro. Am I wrong?
I feel like all that brother cares about is if Leah's gonna give him the shot to cuddle in bed, man. I don't think he's really locked in on the game. You know,
oh, dude, who knew that like Penny would be more interesting than Cam? Like
Sweet Daddy K, man.
Penny K. All right, guys. Anything else you guys wanted to touch on? This is our longest one so far, but yes.
We haven't talked about the twist that was revealed.
Oh yeah.
Oh, true. Yes, Finn. Please explain the twist.
So from what I understand, the twist is we are currently in the process of voting to give one person the power of the BB instigator.
Well, you are. We're Canadians, so we don't.
Okay.
Finn will be the representative of the Big Brothers.
I did my duty. I cast my votes for Tucker. I sent the link to my mom who doesn't watch Big Brother and told her, "Hey, do me a favor, vote for Tucker." I'm gonna just send it to random friends who don't watch this show and be like, "Hey, go vote for Tucker." Just do
Tucker or
it.
Angela, I'm down for it, but
Yeah.
I'm probably more down for Tucker, to be honest.
Oh, Angela would be a fun one too, but
but
yeah,
I think
100% Tucker.
I think the
basically-
casuals combined with the super fans, Tucker's getting it for sure.
So basically what I understand is that whoever has this power can use those deep fake player avatars that they created on that video screen to spread misinformation and rumors. I feel like that has the power to really flop.
Yeah.
But
I
I
just
don't
ignore it.
You could, but I don't think the other players actually know that this is a thing. I think the audience are the only ones who know that this twist is happening. So
like Quinn shows up and says, "Hey guys, unfortunately, I told someone about the Pentagon," and then that actually gets said by Quinn, and then but Tucker's the one that said it. Like, is that like kind of how it works?
So like I think.
Dude. That would be crazy.
That would. I think the effective way to use this if you get this power is to say something that is based in truth. Something with like a kernel of truth, but then like blow it way out of proportion. Really, this has potential to really set off some crazy paranoia because they're not going to know what the meaning of it is. They're not going to know where it's coming from.
Should be random fucking information said by someone.
You can use anyone's player avatar to say basically whatever you want, which is a scary reality of AI, but I choose not to think about that. Otherwise, I would never sleep at night.
I do kind of hope like someone really smart or clever. Like I would love like a Joseph to get this. I think he would like have a lot of fun with it.
He would.
I think the problem with Tucker is like Tucker would be like just so obvious it's Tucker. I feel like, you know what I mean?
Hey, I'm Quinn. I'm stupid. Like, it'd be good
I'm a dingus, dingleberry. Like, but like, I feel like Joseph would be like have like Chelsea say something like really like actually incriminating, and then people are like, Chelsea, did you actually say that? And then Chelsea's like, no, I didn't. But then everyone's like, do we really trust Chelsea? And like, just could obliterate her game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think like I said, the go-to move if you get the instigator power is saying something that's semi-based in truth, but just throw in a little bit of that misinformation and disinformation, just get it sounding a little too true to fully write off, but a little too messed up to want to believe all the way,
I like it. It's interesting. I definitely like that it's not like a coup d'etat. Like, it's like it's more of a fun one, but that could have game ramifications if they play it right. Like this kind of twist I like, especially if they already did some like more game breaking twists. I like that this twist is like not really like just like giving someone like superpowers. It's just giving someone a little bit of power that could maybe go to their head or maybe actually work. Who knows? It's fun. It's fun, and it's a way to engage the audience. I mean, just like to finish it off though, like I really do think this season, like production, like really like upped their game.
They did
this season. The AI arena, I've heard lots of people very happy with it. I could see this like really changing. Big Brother. I could see them from now on doing a pre-jury AI arena because it really makes pre-jury a lot more interesting and like chaotic. It gives people that are on the outs or people that would normally just be like backdoored like Tucker a lot more legs in the game. And I don't know if it's gameable, really, to be honest.
As long as the comps are equitable, I really don't think it is. I mean, obviously we've seen Tucker go on a winning streak, but I think that's more just because he's really good at thinking outside of the box rather than just because he has some kind of advantage over everybody else, like we see with a lot of the comps they did last season. But
Yeah.
I really do think last season was kind of a wake-up call for production. I mean, there was a moment on the feeds where they gave everyone their HOH basket because only 2 people were winning HOH back-to-back. So I think there might be something to that. I think production might be really thinking outside the box, and I'm here for it. This is what we've wanted. Equitable cops that anyone can win. That is what makes Big Brother so much fun.
I love
Hell
Jag.
yeah.
Jag should have never won last season. Like the guy's great, but like he should have never won, and he did because he like won like 9 or 10 competitions or something silly like that. And like you're right, like I think production was like, and I think it started with Reindeer Games. I think Reindeer Games they had equitable comps, and then they were like, oh, this is what we've been missing. And it's like, shit, we've had that. This has been the same complaint for like a decade now, but like finally they're listening, and I love it.
The way Reindeer Games was better than most modern seasons of Big Brother is kind of insane to me.
For real.
I have to say, like, this week was like, I mean, this whole pre-jury so far has been like why I like love Big Brother. And like I can tell from this panel, like we are obviously very passionate about this game, but like I don't know about you guys, like this episode and this like week and like honestly the past few weeks have been like why I've been so passionate about the show. And it makes me really happy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you go, Finn, you go.
I was just going to say, I'm just having such a good time with this season. That was
I think for 3 people like us that are such big fans, we've seen most, if not all of the seasons, it can get repetitive or it can get, a little stale if everything's not going our way or if a season's just, lacking that oomph. And this season's delivering, man. It's shaking things up. It's had a great cast. It's had great drama, which has been lacking severely in the modern era of BB. And it's the good kind of drama. This is not like, debatable. Some people hate Angela, obviously, but this is not, prejudicial, or it's not, even if the worst thing someone's been called is a twit, I think we're doing good. If you don't got to censor the bad word being said, we're doing good on the level of animosity people are showing, and it's the good kind of animosity. It's rivalries. It's Tucker saying, "I'm gonna beat you in the veto and send you home," and then stand on business with it.
100%.
Yeah, and we still shake Cedric's hand at the end.
We haven't had like any like racist shit, really. We haven't had any fucking sexist shit, really. We haven't had someone just like destroying the competitions, really. We'll see like if Tucker keeps going, but like we haven't had any of this like really negative stuff. Like you said, if we're complaining about Angela, like if that's really like the worst thing we're complaining about, like I think we're winning. And so I totally agree with you. Like the drama is like the proper drama. Oh, we lost Finn. Anyway, we shall be signing out of this Big Brother podcast, but it was a pleasure today. We'll see you next week on the Big Brothers podcast. Make sure to stay here, stay tuned, and everybody have a great night. Peace out.
Peace out.